Hey everyone, welcome to Daily Revelations. It's Monday, so happy Monday as well. We are in Nehemiah 10, and I'm sorry if you're following along in the last week of our devotional before we hop into the spring one, which I'm going to have done by the end of today. I'll have the links ready for you tomorrow. Thank you, Daria, for all of your help in editing. That has been extremely helpful because I'm not, as you will see by today's lesson, that details are not my thing. It says read Nehemiah 2. You're supposed to read Nehemiah 10. Anyways, so I hope you got something out of your initial reading of that. What I'm going to talk about today is holding tight. We hold tight to a lot of things. We loosen our grip on things without even knowing it as well. And we don't realize how much we need to hold tight to things in order for them to stay in our lives. So at the very end of Nehemiah 10 is this word. In chapter 39, it says, and thus we will not neglect the house of our God. What that word actually is, if you go back to the original Hebrew, it is azav, which means to loosen or to relinquish, to leave behind. It means that there was something existing there before. It wasn't just that you didn't think of it in the first place. When you neglect something, it was something that you first held tight to, that you cherished. And all of a sudden, things just happen and you kind of lose connection with it. We do that with our relationship with God. And that is what we need to hold tight to. The opposite, talked about this last week and looking at what's not said, from relinquishing or from this azav is to hold tight, to draw near, to turn back around and head that direction that you were once going but now aren't. And so how can we do that? What does that look like? Well, for the people in Nehemiah's time, they made a contract with each other and with God. They put it in writing. They put their physical names on it. And I know sometimes when you read the Old Testament, you go, why did they list all these people's names? Well, it was important. They were people that these people knew. They were real people living in that time that said, I am willing to stake my name on this, that I'm making this agreement. What are you willing to stake your name on? What they were willing to do was they were refusing to have intermarriages into their culture because God told them, you are entrusted with the seed that will produce eventually Jesus. And so to their culture, that was extremely important. It seems kind of ridiculous now in our culture when we have so many, we're so, interworldly, with nations, and it doesn't make sense. But for them, that is why. And so it isn't that God was saying, well, just keep to yourselves. It was important for them to preserve that seed. So the other thing was tithing. Tithing was a huge thing, and they had to be able to support the priests and everything that went on in the temple. And so tithing to that, and the priests had to tithe as well. But what that boiled down to is, do you trust God to provide for you? And to provide when you give of your first fruits, those first things that you produce, can they be of God's? And can you trust that He will keep giving to you in faith as you continue to follow Him? The other one was Sabbath Rest. We agree to take time, and that when we take that time to rest, we again are showing we have faith that God will give us enough time and enough resources to do what needs to be done. So, and then all the other commandments and laws that they agreed to as well. But it made me think, do I need to do this? Do I need to say to God, yes, I am making a pact to hold tight to everything, especially during this time right now? Are we holding tight to God, or are we holding tight to the news, or to social media, or to what our friends that we connect with online are saying or doing? Or is God our first and foremost of who we are holding tight to? And can we run to Him first? So I wrote down some things about, just if we boil down what the people in Nehemiah's time were holding tight to. This is basically what they're saying. We hold tight to having pure relationships. And that means not even looking outside of the relationships that we have and thinking that our neighbor probably has a better marriage or better kids or other things than us. We are in our homes. Can we do our job in our homes to take care of our own families? Can we trust that God is going to give us what we need and not hoard and not worry or fear that we won't have what we need? Are we giving? Are we willing to give up the excess or even the necessities of what God stirs our hearts to give to someone else? Are we willing? And if God asks, will we do it? And then finally, will we follow as God commands us to? Every day, we be in the Word. Ask God, what do you want me to do with my day? And if it doesn't look like your planner, then that can get put off for another day. Because what God tells us to do, his commands, are most important. There'll always be another day. There'll always be something else to do. So I hope that's an encouragement to you. Hold tight. Hold tight to God, because he is a solid rock. He's a solid foundation. He's the only thing that's solid. And he's the only thing that is eternal that we have in this world. And so we just hold tight to him. And he will lead us through this so that we are ready, not only for tomorrow, but for eternity with him as we grow closer to him and trust in him more. So hope that's an encouragement for you today. Keep holding tight. I'll see you tomorrow as we continue on with Nehemiah 10. Bye.